Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for experimental build 14 of Update 120 of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. We are out of ammo to shoot the last one. Let's just fix that real quick. Wonderful. So what have you got for you this week? Well, it is Explosives Day, and the reason that it is Explosives Day is that the U.S. military has decided to put in its first new offensive hand grenade since, I think, like the late 60s. So I present to you the M111, an immediate delight by simply having its number be the same digit 3 times in a row, like some of our other favorite things in the world. A little bit unusual of a shape, if I'm being honest. I don't really know the logic behind why it is this shape. Also, less fun in certain ways because it doesn't have a nice little dangly ring there, and the reason for that is that the modern fuse assembly on this, technically the M67 also has this, has something hilariously named the Confidence Clip, which is a clip that holds the ring down, because apparently folks have been taping these down for quite some time, but that doesn't stop us from pulling the pin out like so, popping the spoon off, and whipping that right over there. You know what, it's not a proper test without some volunteers to blow up for us. Now, if you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, offensive grenade, doesn't that imply that there's a defensive grenade as well? And isn't that kind of a hilarious concept? Well, this is the case, and in case you weren't aware of this, something like an M67 is a defensive grenade, and our M111, or the grenade this replaced, the Mark III-A2, is an offensive grenade, and the reason for that is that this showers the area that it explodes around with fragments, whereas this one does not. So while this is a fragmenting grenade, oh phooey indeed. Boom! Fires off a whole bunch of fragments. I'm sure we could find bullet holes all over the place for some of those. This one is an offensive grenade, meaning that all it does is damage things via the overpressure effect. And so, at least in theory, via tactical doctrine, this is a grenade that is quote-unquote safe to throw while advancing towards the target. Obviously, we'd want to start a little further back here in doing that, like, ha! And then we would be charging forward like so. Explosion. There we go. And not risk being perforated by many hundred small pieces of metal. And that is the difference between these two things. So there you have it. Now we've also learned some things about explosives. And I think this might be a new record for sheer implementation time between news going out that this exists and it being in the game. So there you have it. M111, welcome to the game with a celebratory arm swinger jump. That isn't the only thing going on explosives-wise. I have made a number of tweaks and fixes related to a bunch of explosive systems and some other nonsense related to them that I'd like to go over. The first of which is that our wonderful slingshot found under exotic guns, exotic firearms, has had a couple unusual behaviors with some other things that ended up having me rewrite a bunch of code for them. So if we go over into remote explosives, I don't know how many of you have played with our C4, but basically this remote C4 has a couple features. It has a little switch on it, which is its arming switch, and once it's armed, it can stick to the environment. Now, this has been a little uneven in the past, and it has prevented folks from doing a number of things that they would like to do with said sticky C4, which is sticking it to doors, which are not static objects, or sticking it onto SOSIGs, which are also not static objects. So I've completely rewritten that. So let's move you out of here. Let's move you here so we can spawn lock you. So now, with this, we can stick it to a surface like so. We can walk over here. We can stick it to a SOSIG, bonk, like so. It now fixed joints even to dynamic physics objects. And then we can pull out our detonator here, take cover as needed, and kablamo. This also allows us, if we wish to get into even more trouble, to pull our slingshot out, slingshot our C4 like so. Ha! Oh, a little bit low, but close enough. Wonderful. Just wonderful. So that is in there. Let's go ahead and clean things up. The other thing is I have gone back and I don't know how many of you who have not played Rotwieners have played with the Whiz-Bang-A-Dinger, but this is our tool for making all sorts of ridiculous improvised explosives in the game, and until now has been limited to a couple scenes, but I managed to restructure the way that it works, messed around with physics a little bit, and this is now available to you under Tools and Toys Crafting. So, in addition to all of the pieces we can use for crafting, you can spawn yourself a Whiz-Bang-A-Dinger. You'll notice that it will not fall with gravity. This is a pivot-locked object, but you can, in fact, spawn one of these, place it wherever. So now, any scene with an item spawner, you can make improvised explosives in it. That includes Take and Hold, obviously. So yeah, if you have never played with this system, we combine a container and arming mechanism. My personal favorite is the egg timer, and then a payload. Let's get a few of these things out of our pockets. Actually, no, we'll leave you there. Yes. Beautiful. And egg timer. So yeah, come on over to our Whiz-Bang-A-Dinger. Payload, container, arming mechanism. Go like this. Ding. Beautiful. We have ourselves an improvised explosive that contains the contents of the M111, but the special features. So in this case, an egg timer. So let's go ahead and put this here for us to duplicate it. We can arm it like so. Set it to 5 seconds. Give that a throw. Because that is the small container, you could just wing that sucker super, super far. If we instead grab something like the bucket, which is significantly larger, which allows us to put significantly more stuff in it. Come on. There we go. In fact, yeah, let's fill the bucket with the grenades first. Our arming mechanism. There we go. Oh. Physics is mad at us. Beautiful. Actually, I don't know if I would really call this beautiful. Hideous is more like it. But we should now be able to create a significantly larger boom. Arm that. The bucket doesn't fly nearly as far because it's huge. But if we needed to overcome that, we could just slingshot it. Wonderful. We gotta actually get some more volunteers in here to just test the devastation of our triple 111 egg timer bucket. Let's go 10 seconds. There we go. That should give us enough time to... There we go. And yoink! Oh! There we go. Perfect. Like I meant to. Any day now. While I'm sure the first explosion did everything it needed to, you never know. And so sequential grenade explosions can be quite useful. So, hope you all have fun with this stuff. Oh, that's a lot closer than I wanted it to be. We'll just stand. Yeah. Science. So there you go. There is a whole bunch, as I said, adjustments. The sticky function of the bangers hasn't been updated to the way the C4 functions currently, but I will go ahead and update it. And if you're wondering what are all of the things you can do with these crafting ingredients, if you've never played Return of the Rotwieners, you can actually add all sorts of properties to these various explosives by jamming other things into the Whiz-Bang-A-Dinger, so you can make some pretty customized explosives. You can save them under the save load system and use them wherever you wish. So definitely play around with it. If you're the sort that mainly comes into H3 to just play in the sandbox or play Take and Hold, and you have no idea that there's an entire explosives crafting system in here from like 7 years ago. So hope you have fun with it, as well as the new grenade. Wha! Oh shoot! Let's go ahead and jump out of VR. Yo, out of VR. So what else is going on? we've got some important system changes that I'd like to go over with you folks real quick that are related to Taken Hold. We've got some bug fixes, and we have the return of a fan favorite segment. So let's quickly go over the changes. Basically, Cow Wiener Calico, the Taken Hold character that is entirely focused on old-timey guns, hasn't really gotten its metadata definitions updated in quite some time, and we've added a lot of guns since then. One of the big omissions is that we've added a bunch of like falling block weapons as well as reclassified them, and those aren't showing up in that character. So that's all been changed. So now things like the C77, the Khyber Pass Martini Henry, the Martini Henry, now all show up correctly in that character to be played with, which I think is a perfect pairing to what's already there. In addition, I've done an experimental change. I have no idea if this is a great idea, but I put the Girandoni in. It shows up in the bolt action weapons category that seemed to be most appropriate. Right now, it spawns with basically some rounds and one of the air tanks. I don't really have a clean mechanism to spawn more air tanks for limited ammo modes, so it might be terrible in that respect. I'm going to keep brainstorming on that, see if I can come up with something better for it next week. But for those of you who play the character, let me know if this is like a good addition or if you're like, I'm never buying the bolt action pool again if the air gun is in there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the Girandoni air rifle, definitely look up a video of it because it's just wild that that weapon existed in the late 1700s. It's just wild. So yeah, a couple sort of community requests in terms of tweaks of things. A couple guns got extra button presses for allowing dropping the bolt. The FAMAS F1 and G2 now correctly have bayonet mounts for the MAS 4956 bayonet. Yeah, and some tweaks to some game planner stuff. In terms of bug fixes, once again, thanks for everyone who's been continuing to post bug reports. I've been super active on those threads the past couple weeks because I've been super busy with the other game, but I just went through and tried to like clear a whole bunch of things off the sort of standing bug lists related to falling block weapons, some of the game planner stuff, some missing items, some messed up poses. You can read the full list if you're curious about that. So, as I said before, a return of the fan favorite section, which is hot dog or not dog. I have received the first donation from a viewer, which you can all do as well if you're curious. I'll cover that at the end. Thanks to Ian up from British Columbia, Canada / Northest Dakota. That joke was funnier before this year for obvious reasons. Sent us something wonderful, which I almost feel guilty for not having thought about, which is to transform a hot dog into a poutine hot dog. Which brings us to we have our first donation for the segment and kind of our first shipping mishap. While I most certainly appreciate the parcel and the enthusiasm, Ian, and sending the gravy packet, solid option. This is an example of something that's great to send through the mail. The bag of cheese curds, despite your absolutely heroic efforts to insulate them, did not make it, and the package of them was in fact quite inflated like a balloon when it arrived here almost 7 days after you sent it. Just a word of warning to anyone sending me something for this segment. If you can't just leave it on the counter on your table for 3 to 4 days completely unrefrigerated, not the sort of thing that we should be sending through the mail. So just FYI, but not a problem though, because despite the fact that cheese curds are not nearly as common down here in at least this part of the US, I was able to find some. And so we have we have a hot dog, a very nice one here. We have some cheese curds, which I have pre-crumbled into pieces. And we have some poutine gravy. This is one of those gravy packets that sort of immediately sort of cooked up to a very like glue-like consistency, which I don't know about you, but that is the perfect poutine gravy thickness. So here we go. We're going to coat our hot dog with cheese curds. I broke these down into smaller pieces because full-size cheese curds, like the full thickness of the hot dog seemed a little cumbersome to eat and didn't seem like it was going to result in quite the right cheese to hot dog ratio. This is not the best camera angle to be doing culinary work. There we go. Seems about the right amount of cheese curd. And then now let's pour our gravy over it. Oh, wow. It is very gelatinous. Do. Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this. All right, here we go. Hot dog or not dog, poutine, cheese curds with gravy hot dog. It's going to be a mess. Oh, that's great. That's great. You know what? I might have been afraid of the cheese volume. I think we're gonna cheese curd up another bite real quick because I think there's a little too much gravy relative to cheese for it. Bite number 2. Oh yeah. Yep. That is a fantastic, if excessive, hot dog right there. Okay, hot dog or not dog. We definitely have our answer. Should you poutine up a hot dog for if you're just feeling kind of bored or cold in this tail end of winter? I would say yes. This is absolutely a hot dog. I always love doing one of these where I'm like, ooh, I'm going to eat the rest of this after I'm done filming. Thank you again to Ian for sending the poutine gravy and nearly explosive bag of cheese curds. If anyone else would like to send a suggested topping for us to try on a hot dog and see if it makes a hot dog or a not dog, here is my P.O. Box address. Definitely if you send something as well, just because the UPS store is a little uneven sometimes in notifying an incoming parcel, definitely send me a message on Discord as well, if possible, if you send something. But yeah, definitely, as I said before, only send non-perishable things through the mail. And of course, just the constraints, as I said before, don't send anything super gross, disgusting, things that are not food. The goal here is to actually find interesting culinary elements that you wouldn't think to put on a hot dog, but could be paired with a hot dog, especially if it's like a regionalism, something unique to where you are. I want to hear about it. Gonna chart some new culinary territory together. Oh, I cannot wait to eat the rest of this poutine hot dog. I am a goblin. So that just about does it for this week. I am slightly recovered from my my insane work fugue that has been the tail end of February. We're back in action getting things related to Game Planner buttoned up. So expect a whole bunch of sort of signals devices and gadgets in the coming weeks, as well as just continuing to just slowly move through my incredibly long list of bugs, fixes, and polish that I have assembled that need doing. There are hundreds of things on it. And so feels like it'll never end, but hey, that's how it be when you decide to take almost 10 years to make a game. So anywho, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.